Okay, so today's question is about Warren Buffett indicator. And the question is, Deepak, is that a good, reliable way to estimate which direction our markets are going? Are we going to see an uptrend or a downtrend? Can we use Warren Buffett indicator to figure that out? Okay, so first of all, what is Warren Buffett indicator? What you do is it's a simple ratio. What you do is you take the total market capitalization of all the US stocks. So you take the total US stock market, and then you divide it by the GDP. And this gives you a number. And that number basically is if it's over 100%, that means, chances are markets are overvalued. If it's below that, so let's say if it's 70%, 60%, that means the markets are undervalued. And if it's about 100%, then market is neutral. It's not overvalued or undervalued. So that's the idea behind the Warren Buffett indicator. So now the question is, can we use it? Is that even relevant in today's time? So there are a couple of points. Number one, you have to see that indicator has been over 100% for a long time now. So if we say that if it's over 100%, that means we shouldn't really be buying anything because everything is overvalued. Then my question to you would be is, what about Warren Buffett? Has he bought something in the last several years? The answer is absolutely. He has been investing for many years now, consistently. Every year he buys something, sells something. So does that mean Warren Buffett follow this indicator? I don't think so. Certainly not anymore. I think back in 2001, I think it was Fortune magazine, where he made a comment that this indicator is one of the best ways to measure which direction we are heading. But since then, a lot has changed. Markets are not the same markets as we used to be back in those days, because of a couple of reasons. See, number one reason is we got to take a look at the S&P 500. If we take a look at S&P 500, and by the way, this has something to do with tariffs as well. The current state of economy, hopefully somebody is talking to President Trump about this as well, is that S&P 500 does not generate 100% of its income from the United States. If I'm correct, roughly 40% of the income actually comes from overseas, from other countries. So, and obviously that was probably not true back in those days. I think significantly less used to come from overseas. But now 40% of your earnings in S&P 500 is coming from overseas. So if 40% of those earnings are coming from overseas, does it even make sense to compare that with US GDP? Probably not. I think if you were to ask Warren Buffett this question today, most likely he's going to say no, that's just doesn't work anymore, because there will be a mismatch. You're comparing US GDP with the earnings from a foreign country. Doesn't make any sense, right? That's number one. Number two, since 2001, we have been living in a low interest rate environment, until recently. And we have a high liquidity in market. So when you have low interest rates and high liquidity, it naturally pushes the valuations up. And that's what we've been experiencing for many, many years. So if you ask me, would I use a Warren Buffett indicator to make my decision right now? Absolutely not. It makes no difference. And by the way, on that topic, many times I see people sharing charts, people sharing statistics from back in the days. I think they can be a good guide. They can be good learning lessons. But can we use those numbers to predict the future? Absolutely not. I think we need to stick with the basics of valuing a particular company, stick with the basics of dollar cost averaging into that stock, having a long-term thesis, having a long-term goals. Those are the basics that actually work from my point of view. So if I don't use Warren Buffett indicator, what can I use? Well, I can always use price to earnings. I can use, obviously, forward earnings growth. I can use discounted cash flow method. I can use interest rate adjusted models. I can use cash flow yields. So there are a lot of other ways for us to value the company, depending upon which stage that particular company is. So that's kind of hard to tell. Now, if you talk about the market, How would I figure out whether the market going to go up or not? It just really all depends on the macroeconomics in the current economy. When fundamentals are not strong, when there is some underlying issues in the economy, then there is a risk for a downfall. And once those issues are resolved, then market always goes up. As we have talked about, and you probably have seen it many times in books and from financial gurus. Is that, over long term, everything will be fine. Whether it's a tariff problem, whether it's a war problem, economy problem, we can resolve it over a long time. So one strategy is sit back, relax, and just let the things happen, and you'll be just fine over term. But if you want to make a delta, if you want to do better than the market, then you need to get involved. You need to improve your thinking process. You need to have better information. You need to arrive at better conclusions. Now, there is no tool that can give you that information. Okay, you cannot rely on somebody else to provide you that information. You have to basically learn it, and you have to practice it, and you have to practice it over the long term, and you need to start testing your own thesis. How are you doing? How often you're right? How often you're wrong? And when you're wrong, why are you wrong? And you need to do that for many, many years. And when you do that, then hopefully you will graduate and become a professional investor. Until then, we all are gamblers. We all are students. We all are learning. And the more mistakes we make, the more we learn. But I think it's a better way of learning is we learn from other people's mistake. So there you go. That's what I use for valuation. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.